journey began in the 20th century.
He didn't tell you that we do time research here?
And took them back to 1871.
We're really here. I don't believe it.
Their goal, a 19th century cure for a modern-day plague.
Please help us, Doctor. It's vital.
Before it's lost forever in the flames of history. Irwin Allen and Rod Serling join forces for Time Travelers on the Sci-Fi Channel, Sunday at 5.
The following program contains computer simulations which depict violent events. Parental discretion is advised.
The tape everyone is talking about, our recreation of the Simpson-Goldman murder. Today, go behind the scenes to see how it was made.
So the medical evidence is literally the most important to establishing the scenario of the crime. We believe this to be the most detailed reconstruction done to date.
And confused about the internet? You won't be after today. Get ready for the ultimate tour of the net and see for yourself just what it can do for you. Hi, I'm Gina St. John.
And I'm Richard Hart. All that plus the world's tiniest radio, next on CNET Central.
CNET Central, brought to you in part by IBM, Solutions for a Small Planet, Network MCI Business. Install it in your office today. And Hewlett-Packard Printers.
在女將高當地咩嘅？就咩我改 computer， 要出了毛病。你檢查過 confidence 燈話嘛？我拍過幾樣電話，也是無效啊。你知無？我推過 IBM 嘅資料，他們領導電話裡幫你查出唔對，就將毛病處理好啊。真好啊，打電話對啊。
We're actually a pretty big publishing company. We're just not burdened by a lot of people in real estate.
Peter's finally talking to Marcus Belfry himself.
But Marcus, nobody can get a book to market faster. We can hook you up with Network MCI Business email, video conferencing, access to the world's largest research library, the internet. And no one will devote more time or talent to you than Gramercy Press.
You know, Peter, you're a pretty good salesman.
Well, you're a pretty good writer.
CNET Central.
Welcome back to CNET Central, our new home in San Francisco, just overflowing with the latest in digital products and services. And it's a place we hope you'll come to often for more about life in this computer age.
Okay, let's get started. Have you seen it yet? Our computer recreation of the murders in the OJ Simpson trial. We aired it last week for the very first time, the most scientifically detailed recreation yet of how Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman may have been killed. Television programs around the world have now aired it as a stunning example of the power of computers to help us visualize complex events.
Today, a follow-up, an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at how our army of criminal investigators, actors, photographers, attorneys, artists, and computer technicians created the videotape seen round the world. The standard of forensic animation was raised to a new level last week with the introduction of this startling animation. A product of computer graphics and scientific conjecture, it was commissioned by CNET and created by one of the world's foremost authorities on disaster recreations.
As a result of this animation tool, I'm able to take you back to that street, that condo, that gate, that night, and you can watch those people.
With painstaking attention to detail, the engineers from Failure Analysis reconstructed the murder, using scientific measurements of the scene, medical examiners' reports, and court testimony from investigators and forensics experts.
There is only one scenario that will explain all the physical evidence. Only one, the correct one. So the more ways that you can constrain your analysis by physical evidence, the more likely the final analysis will be close to or identical to what really happened.
The animation of the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman is dramatic, even disturbing. But more important, say the engineers at Failure Analysis, it is highly accurate.
The geometry of the scene, combined with the medical evidence, combined with the position of the bodies afterwards, very much constrained, fortunately, the sequence things had to be done. But the exact sequence also had to make sense in terms of a reality check. We know, for instance, that no one got off a sound. These murders only occurred 15, 20 feet from the sidewalk. No one heard anything. So the choreography of the characters must be such that at every point in time, the assailant has control of the mouth of the victim that he's assaulting.
Even the choice of skin color made by Failure's engineers was determined by the evidence.
The hat is found with, I believe the number is 26 African-American hairs in it. There doesn't seem to be any contrary testimony or even dispute over the hat as belonging to the assailant. So we merely followed the physical evidence of the scene.
Now this is a new kind of animation. You already know that it's possible for an artist to sit down in front of a computer and use it as a tool to create what is essentially a cartoon. It's an estimation of a dinosaur for a movie or an estimation of what happened during a crime. This is different. Here we're actually feeding a computer real numbers, evidence if you will, and having the computer calculate an accurate portrayal of exactly what happened. That's what's going on here. A major difference that sets forensic animation apart from other types is the amount of data required to create it. The first step for the investigators at Failure Analysis was research. They had to collect every available piece of information connected to the criminal investigation of the murders.
That involves obtaining transcripts from the preliminary hearing, videotape that has been shown by the media, and transcripts that are coming from the current trial. And bringing all this information together, we sent a group of people down to Los Angeles. Actually, I led that team down to Los Angeles, and that included engineers, photographers, and one of our animators. And we went onto the site in Los Angeles, and then we were able to obtain a lot more information about the site.
What we're going to do is use the photographs taken by this camera, which is a metric camera, to go back and reconstruct very accurately the three-dimensional geometry of this particular building.
Now, the third stage would be bringing together the information from the first and second stages and coming up with a plausible scenario. And then we would bring people together and brainstorm about what possibly happened on June the 12th. The storyboards was to help us, our animators and our technical people, pull together some ideas and prepare ourselves for the shoot we did at BioVision on Saturday and Sunday.
I got to inflict a lot of cuts on this guy.
This involved a lot of role-playing by Dr. McCarthy playing the assailant, Sally Shepard playing the role of Nicole Brown Simpson, and myself as Ron Goldman.
I'm going to have to cut his cheek several times as I'm torturing him and talking to him.
Using the data they've collected, the Failure engineers then created a chilling script for their scenario of the murders.
It looks like what he did is he has to use the knife to pry her head up once and then get a different bite with the back of the knife on the back of her head, and literally he picks her up with the knife to the back of the head, covering her mouth.
In order to make their animation characters move more lifelike, the Failure team relied on the experts at BioVision, who have perfected motion capture technology.
These markers, each of the segments of the model and the computer are driven by these marker points. Our machines out here will calculate 3D points for each of these markers, so I'm finding all of our joints in here.
6 high-speed cameras follow the movements of each actor, while a variety of PCs and workstations record the data.
Okay, go back to the center. Half step back.
What BioVision allows you to do is capture the movements of organic people and then readily translate those movements to the motions of a artificial mathematical character who has limbs that can be moved by the computer as long as you know how to tell the computer to move them. I'm going to pick her up, step down for my strength. She is now awake. We look over here. bring my hand in front, we have a conversation while I nick her throat.
Mechanical engineer Sally Shepard played Nicole Brown Simpson in the reenactment. She says the taping session sometimes felt a little eerie.
It's an unusual situation to be put in, but it's not uncommon at failure for us to sort of play the role of accident victims if you happen to be the right size for the incident. So it's a little bit weird, though. This is a little out of the ordinary.
Now it's up to computer animation engineer Jerry Jackson. One computer wasn't enough to calculate all the information necessary. Jackson used 5 Silicon Graphics Unix workstations and 7 different processors. Also, he relied on an SGI reality engine and animation software called Advanced Visualizer to create this first-of-its-kind animation. From photographs and architectural drawings, slowly Nicole Brown Simpson's condominium takes shape. Working from photos of the victims, the animators also put real faces on the characters. The final step is movement. Using the data from BioVision, the characters move with human precision. Through cutting-edge technology and diligent investigative work, failure analysis can show us what probably happened the night of June 12 in Brentwood.
We believe this to be the most detailed reconstruction done to date. We hope it remains the standard by which all other reconstructions are judged by, even the prosecutions.
In all, an amazing process. And if you have a personal computer, a modem, and a connection to the internet, you can get your own copy of this animation. Just go online and head for CNET.com. That's our internet address. And then you can download or transfer the animation from our computers to yours.
If any of this is confusing to you.
And why would any of this be confusing?
Oh, it can. Just stick with CNET Central, though. We're here to help you out.
Excuse me. Mind if I ask you about your new Hewlett-Packard DeskJet 540 printer?
Could you hang on?
Sure. That's quite a smart choice, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Somebody's been working pretty hard tonight. Diligently working away as your faithful DeskJet 540 prints out page after great-looking page.
Uh-oh.
What happened?
I just sliced my tee shot into the lake.
Should have used the 5-iron. The affordable DeskJet 540 printer from Hewlett-Packard. Can I play?
You're watching CNET, the center of the digital universe.
This is great. This is great. Don't you get it? We're dead. We don't get it there by 11. We're shut out. Game is over.
Dave, just tell him to send over a copy. Don't panic.
There's no copy. We didn't have time.
We're dead.
That's what I said. We're dead. I just said we're dead.
At Compaq, we realize you never know when you're going to need information or where. So we created Aero, a powerful computer so small and lightweight you'll never be tempted to leave it behind.
See? No reason to panic. I'm buying lunch.
Lunch? You mean dinner?
There's a rumor. One of the big houses just entered the bidding against us for Marcus Belfry's next book.
Ellen's with him now. Let's email her.
Done.
No, let's fax her.
Done.
You better page her.
Done. How about carrier pigeon?
Message MCI. Email, fax, or page anywhere with a click of a mouse. To install the 21st century in your office today, call 1-800-888-8100.
Revolutionary new Timex Data Link watch uses light beams to transfer dates and data from your computer to your wrist with just a touch of your palm. Pretty smart, eh? The Timex Data Link watch.
Now on the Net is sponsored by IBM, Solutions for a Small Planet.
Everyone's talking about it, but what is it? Today, a close-up look at the internet and how it was created. 1969 had Woodstock and the first moonwalk. 69 had old hippies and a new hero. And 69 had horrors. The nuclear arms race was at its peak. We were still locked in the Cold War. There was still the very real threat that the superpowers could go at it in a global atomic showdown. Factories cranked out missiles on both sides. Our government worried about surviving. What would happen in a nuclear attack to our nation's communication system? Would the Army, Navy, and Air Force be cut off from each other? The Pentagon has an agency that worked on things just like that. The Advanced Research Projects Agency, or ARPA for short. It funded scientific research that could help the military. ARPA had funded research all through the 60s to make computers faster and smarter. But by 69, there was still a major problem. As smart as computers were, they couldn't communicate with each other.
Computers could not talk to each other. There was no format, no protocol. They didn't even speak the same codes.
So ARPA hired scientists and engineers like Lynn Kleinrock and his staff at UCLA to find a way to do it, to link, or what's called network computers, thinking it could be one way to make a communication system that could survive anything. It was a challenge because every computer in the world had a different language.
You imagine that to say there was 10 different kinds of computers, and you wanted to all communicate, that might mean there was, to communicate with each of the other ones, you'd have to have 9 different ways of communicating. You have to know 9 different languages beside your own. We said, okay, let's not do that. Let's come up with one language.
John Postel was a grad student at UCLA back then. Lynn Kleinrock had a whole team of grad students doing a lot of the work. These students and these professors spent months working day and night, tweaking their computer, adding switches, and perfecting a standard language. Then came the first big test. Could UCLA send a message to a computer some 400 miles away at SRI, the Stanford Research Institute? The first word to be sent? Log in.
So one of our guys typed the letter L, and over the phone, the guy at the other end said, I got the L. And then we sent the O, and the guy said, I got the O. And then we sent the G, and the system crashed.
For the first time ever, 2 computers hundreds of miles away could talk to each other.
We didn't really think of it as a big historic thing because we were building this little research project for ARPA. We weren't building the world's communication system.
So the ARPANET was born. Scientists had a new way to communicate on a system that was indestructible. Indestructible because information was stored in computers scattered around the country, not in one central place. Write a file in Los Angeles and send it to your friends, and that file is backed up everywhere you sent it. All of ARPANET could never be destroyed. Remember this concept. There is no central internet headquarters. There's no main office building. Nobody owns the internet. So the net isn't a place. It's not really even a thing. It's billions of files and ideas floating around everywhere, united by a common language. This ARPANET grew quickly. By the early 80s, 200 colleges were connected to the ARPANET.
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition.
NASA and other government agencies had networks too, and they wanted their networks to be able to share info with everyone on the ARPANET. In 1981, they did. Now this one network, the ARPANET, was combined with other government networks. Now you had a network made up of different networks. For the first time, you had the idea of internetworking, and for the first time, someone uttered the immortal word, Internet. In the coming weeks, we'll take you on the internet and show you how to get hooked in, where to go, what's cool, what's for you, and what to avoid, and how to successfully navigate this ever-changing monster network. We're even launching our own online site to help you connect with us 24 hours a day. Richard?
True, I've been accused of being an incurable gadget geek, and I confess. So whenever the CNET staff comes up with the latest, greatest technology, I'm going to try to share it with you. For instance, the world's smallest FM radio. This thing weighs less than 4 ounces. It's called the Ultralight 2000. Costs less than $30, and it really works. Give a listen. Hey, well, if you want FM stereo, you could use both ears. They're going to come out with one half this size in a short while. Most of you are familiar with a camcorder called the Sharp View Cam, but when you combine this with a special modem base for telephone use, Sharp calls this the View Cam Teleport System, and it's supposed to send video images over the phone. Here, I'll take a video image of myself here. I'm really going to do this. I'm going to smile and snap a freeze frame. All right, we're going to put this into the base, lock it in, and just press send. And when you press send, whichever last image you took will be transmitted over a telephone line, in this case to the other end of CNET here, where Amory Gable, one of our producers, is seated at a similar device. Amory, it's coming through any second now.
Here it comes, Richard. You're on my desktop, but you're upside down.
Well, I don't profess at being an artist. I'm not upside down. The camera was upside down. The base unit costs about $900. The camcorder starts at about $1,200. And for that money, you might be asking, what good is it? Well, it might be of use to a real estate agent who has to transmit an image of a building pretty quickly. You can't do that with film. And because it'll pick up the phone and record on the videotape even voice messages, but pictures too, think of it as the first video answering machine.
Parece diferente esta noche.
Es que no terminé de tipear el informe mensual de marketing. Es un plomo y me están presionando.
No te lo puedo creer. ¿Todavía no has oído hablar del nuevo software de reconocimiento de voz de IBM? Toma dictado. Vos simplemente le hablas y te lo escribe automáticamente.
Anonadada.
You're watching CNET, your source in the digital age.
Excuse me, sir. What are you doing?
Printing a picture.
Wow, is that a new Hewlett-Packard DeskJet 540 printer?
It's a 9-inch high-end armor with a shield. I see.
Yeah, wise choice, this HP DeskJet, huh? How about that printer? Isn't it durable?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I guess so. So I bet your parents get a lot of use out of it, though, huh?
Yeah, I guess.
You guess?
They don't wear the stuff they print.
Isn't that just like parents?
Yep, boring.
You said it.
The information superhighway. Mega revolution.
World Wide Web.
Digital superhighway.
The information superhighway.
The Internet. Everyone's talking about it. Finally, all the answers are here in one fascinating home video. The Ultimate Internet Tour, hosted by CNET's Richard Hart. Only $19.95 plus shipping and handling. For immediate delivery, call 1-800-445-CNET. You've heard the hype. Now see for yourself. Dial 1-800-445-CNET.
This might be a good time to point out how CNET Central is not just a television show. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Actually, what it's more like is a community, and that's where CNET Online comes in. It's a place where people are going to be using computers to talk to each other, to trade information, to have fun. In short, a real community of people interested in technology. Now, as we've mentioned, much of this is under construction right now, partly because we're waiting to hear from you. This is your big chance. What would you like to see in an online service? Now's your opportunity to let us, let the people in this room, let Lou here know. Lou, what do we got here?
Working on the CNET homepage, Richard.
Homepage, that's a good term. That's the first thing you see, kind of the front door, the table of contents on many computer systems, including our own. Remember the address, cnet.com. That's where you'll get information on becoming a charter member of CNET Online, where you can acquire for yourself a copy of the OJ Simpson trial animation that we had made. It's open for business now, but you'll be hearing a lot more about it as it grows. CNET Central continues in a moment.
Y algo más, el software IBM para reconocimiento de voz también comprende 6 idiomas.
¡Qué bárbaro!
Come in. I remember watching you type when I was a little boy visiting the office, in the days Dad ran it.
Fingers don't move so fast. But perhaps I have less to say.
I just heard from Marcus Belfry's agent. He's signing with us. We got a bestseller on our hands. And I wanted you to be the first to know.
You would be very proud of you.
we doing? We'd like to know what you think of CNET Central.
And it's very easy to tell us. Just bang out an email message to us. Send comments, questions. Hey, we're looking for your suggestions to Richard and me. Richard's address is richard@cnet.com, and mine is gina@cnet.com. We'll have some of your messages on the program next week.
With technology, one of the most frustrating things is just trying to keep up with all the latest gadgets and gizmos.
And Dave Ross has the last word on that.
I bought a new computer, and I'd swear the thing could think. It would jockey words and phrases, do my taxes in a wink. It could print a 3D pie chart even though I didn't need it. It never got too tired, and I never had to feed it. It was everything I wanted. Or at least that's what I thought. Until I saw the new machine my next-door neighbor bought. It was nothing really special, pretty much like all the others. Except it had what mine did not. 16 million colors. So while I did my tax returns in cyan, red, and green, my friend wrote his in every shade from mauve to tangerine. I told myself I didn't care. I said it once, then twice, then went straight out and got my own. I told them, hang the price. I spent the kids' tuition, I gave notice to the maid, and bought a new computer with 400 trillion shades. We don't need this, my wife complained, as if I had betrayed her. Oh, yes, we do, and I'll explain, but not now, maybe later. I ran next door to see my friend, to watch his eyes turn green, the moment I described to him my new high-tech machine. But all he did was nod and yawn as if he didn't care. And when I looked, I saw his old computer wasn't there. It didn't do the job, he said. The thing was a disaster, so I bought an even better one. It's 99 times faster. It recognizes voice commands, controls my heat and lights, it paints my house, it walks the dog, and tucks us in at night. Well, I smiled very warmly. I wished him all the best. Then my left foot caught the power cord and yanked it off the desk. Sorry. The lesson here is one that almost everyone ignores. Seek not to match your neighbor's level. Drag him down to yours. I'm Dave Ross, and I get the last word.
Now all of us with antique PCs can feel a lot better.
I know I do. That's CNET Central for now. We're back next week, same place, same time.
Thanks for tuning in and for logging on.
Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, Gary Sinise, the true story of real American heroes. A summer blockbuster from director Ron Howard. This is how it happened. The making of Apollo 13, tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on the Sci-Fi channel.
Now stay tuned for Beyond Reality, next on the Sci-Fi channel.
Getting online or simply want to know more, CNET is offering a 1-hour special home video hosted by Richard Hart called The Ultimate Internet Tour. The cost is $19.95 plus shipping and handling, and the number to call is 1-800-445-CNET. That's 1-800-445-CNET.
CNET Central, brought to you in part by IBM, solutions for a small planet, Network MCI Business, install it in your office today, and Hewlett-Packard Printers.